Hello and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will. Have you wondered what's been going on in the NFL? Well, if you've been under a rock, you probably don't realize just how much activity has been going on, but it has been fast and furious, so much to talk about. But before we do, please make sure you subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform. And want to give a shout out and thanks to Hard Rock Bet for sponsoring today's episode. You can find the link to them in the description for Hard Rock Bet. Happy Friday, Nick.
Happy Friday, Will. Hello, winners.
Ooh, what a week of activity. Free agency in the NFL in full effect. Obviously, it started on Monday with the negotiating period. Obviously, you could tell some of those people were having conversations before noon on Monday. And then Wednesday was the official. So much to talk about. Where would you like to start first?
Yeah, let's start with the quarterback because that's interesting. A lot of things happen.
Yeah. Where do you want to go first? We could start with the trade of Geno Smith or the Rams re-signing Stafford. We're talking about maybe Stafford gets traded and staying.
What is for you the biggest takeaway of the beginning of the week and last weekend when we start hearing about everything?
I think I think there's really not a lot of wild moves at quarterback. The Rams stayed strong. They were stronger with Stafford than any of these other ones.
Oh, yeah.
I think Seattle improved, getting Darnold instead of Geno Smith. They were going to pay him about the same, so why not get the younger player with more upside? But I'm not enthralled with Fields to the Jets. He couldn't beat out Russell Wilson. That doesn't necessarily move the needle. Some of these other ones are just kind of like, I mean, do you think any of these teams are a threat now with some of these quarterback moves? I think the one that remained a threat was the Rams by keeping Stafford, to be honest.
Yeah, I think keeping means a lot when we thought they were going to leave. I mean, for me, the Rams have the top 3 offense in NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, with the addition of Adams with Puka, I never can pronounce his name.
Puka Nakua.
Yeah. So those two, I mean, Puka Nakua was the number 1 in numbers wise as a wide receiver last year. And I think that Adams was 6 or 7. So those two together, then you have Stafford throwing the ball to both of them. I like their a tight end as well. So it's really interesting. They have running back. They always make it work. They're probably one of the best, if not the best, offensive caller in the game. So I think a strong O-line. So I think offensively, they are matching with teams like Detroit, Minnesota, probably things like that offensively. And yeah, I mean, they have the draft to really fix their defense.
Oh, their defense was strong in the second half of the year.
Yeah, but
the youngest defense in
exactly. So they need probably to do something about that. But
Von Miller got released by the Bills, so maybe somebody picks him up.
Yeah, but he's also getting up there.
They use him as like a third down rusher.
Yeah. No, definitely. But for quarterback, first of all, give it some love to Josh Allen. Is so much deserved.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's so much deserved to have signed. I think
and he took left.
It's still a bargain. I think it's a bargain because he makes less money than Dak Prescott, than a couple of others. I mean, come on.
No, I read an article. He deliberately took less so the Bills could be competitive.
Yeah. I mean, he has the most guaranteed money ever, but guaranteed money doesn't really unless tomorrow he had a car accident or something.
Right.
That's not what we want to.
No.
But yeah, so that's interesting. Then I really think that what's going to happen with the draft may also move a lot. What's happened with Ward and Sanders, because I know this time of the recording, the Tennessee Titans are looking into Russell Wilson. So maybe at the time on Friday, we're gonna be knowing what's happening there. Rodgers, of course, in talk with the Steelers, which I'm not sure it's gonna be a plus at all. So yeah. So we'll see what's gonna happen there. But I do like the Seattle Seahawks getting Darnold as well. I think it's a big plus. The Vikings, the Raiders, I don't really understand the move, but again, it's because of the familiarity, I guess, with Carroll. But I don't really get it. I never felt like he was very good. I mean, he had a very good first year, and then he was like kind of middle of the boat. But I'm not a big believer in him. I do believe in Sam Darnold a lot more, and now he has the experience of the last 2 games. We'll see what he's gonna do with it, or he's gonna be improving because of it, or he's gonna keep choking at when it matters. But the team for the real season, I think, will be better thanks to that. But
I think the Raiders trading for Geno Smith means they will draft a quarterback. They'll draft Ward or Sanders and let them sit for the first year, which is smart because I think with those 2 quarterbacks, they probably could use a little polishing. You know, in most NFL teams, they just don't give those guys time. They throw them right into it after they draft them. And I think they'll benefit. So I think in my mind, the Raiders trading for Geno Smith almost solidifies they take a quarterback in the first round. And it seems like those guys are going to slip. Like, it doesn't really seem like anybody really wants to use a top 3 pick on them. So, I mean, we'll see, of course. So much can happen between now and the draft. But I think the Raiders go young at quarterback and try to get 2 years out of Geno, is my guess. Not that this pick or this trade means anything. I just find it funny. So you got Pickett, who goes to Pitt. He gets drafted by the hometown Pittsburgh Steelers, washes out there, goes to Philadelphia as a backup, gets a couple games played because Hurts gets
Super Bowl champ.
And then they reward him by shipping him to basically Siberia of Cleveland Browns to be a backup. Maybe he can start. I don't know. But he's got to be like, oh, I spent my whole time in Pennsylvania, home, friends, family, win a Super Bowl, and now he get shipped to arguably one of the worst teams in the league. Although they did sign Garrett to that monster deal. So I guess Cleveland, their defense still will be good, but I don't know. It's just kind of funny for Pickett, him going there. But I don't know, Minnesota. I mean, McCarthy's not a given.
He's not a given, but they definitely go the direction.
Now they don't have the choice.
I mean, yeah, they will probably have like a backup, like a veteran backup somewhere.
I don't think they screwed up. They should have tagged Darnold.
Yeah,
I mean, because if you trade Darnold with the franchise tag, the team doesn't have to accept that contract. They'll probably renegotiate with them. Say, wait, take off the tag, like they do. They'll take off the tag and give him that deal. You mean to tell me they couldn't tag him and then make a deal with Seattle, even if it was just for a 3rd round pick, which I think they would have got more. But why not do that? Like, they didn't tag anybody else. I could see if they were going to prioritize somebody else to tag. I just feel like it was a miss.
Yeah, I agree. We talked about it a few weeks ago, and we thought that he was going to be tagged.
Get something for him. Like, why let him go? Like, even the Eagles, they lost Sweat to the Cardinals. They lost Williams to the Patriots, 2 stud defensive linemen. I mean, for what they signed, I don't know, maybe the Garrett contract blew it up. So maybe the top 5 averages because of that Garrett contract got too high.
What about Bosa going probably with his brother? That's going to be interesting when they play.
Brothers. Yeah, Bosa brothers.
That's going to be interesting. So what about the wide receiver? Because I know you were hoping to get one of the 2, to the Packers, and then you have, like, of course, Adams going to the Rams, and you have Metcalf going to Steelers. You'd still have Cobb, but
I'm actually glad they didn't do that deal for Metcalf, because you're going to pay a guy $30 million plus give up a 2nd round pick, and he's never been an All-Pro. I didn't realize that until I was reading about the trade. He's obviously got a lot of physical talent and everything. I'm not saying he's a schmuck or anything like that, but $30 million for a guy plus a 2nd round pick, I didn't like that. I thought the Devontae Adams deal was a great deal for the Rams. They're only guaranteeing $26 million to get a player of that caliber for $13 million a year. That's peanuts with the salary cap in the NFL. I'm happy for Devontae. He's from California. His grandmother lives in California. He's going to play in the dome. I don't like older players playing in cold weather. That's why I love Green Bay being a draft and develop. The cold weather doesn't hurt the bones as much when you're younger as when it does when you're older. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would have loved to have Devontae back, but for him as a player, I'm happy for him. I think the Rams are going to be a really tough team to play. It'll be interesting to see where Cup goes.
Uh-huh. The rumors are Baltimore a lot, so we hear the Ravens.
Yeah, and they kept their left tackle, which was smart by them, re-signing Staley. But no, I think, I think for Pittsburgh, you don't know how these personalities are going to mesh. Like,
that's going to be the problem.
Pickett was very vocal last year, not happy. Now you bring in Metcalf, who's going to take some of who's throwing on the ball. I mean, even if it is Rodgers, there's only, and
there is no O-line.
No O-line, and they like to run the ball and they can't run.
Yeah, and that's why they're not signing Harris yet. He will be a free agent because they don't sign him because he underperformed, and then and they just have like Warren, and that's it now on the back. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they still, if they bring someone like Rodgers with no O-line, that's gonna be a disaster. He doesn't move at all anymore. He's like Russell, and he will have like an empty line, so he needs to throw the ball within 3 seconds. I don't know.
I agree. I don't like it.
That's why I was hoping for them to keep Fields, because Fields has legs. If it is a bad O-line, he cannot throw fast. He can always use his legs. It's not.
They do Daniel Jones.
We talk about
he's like
him.
a Fields.
Yeah, I don't know. Because Fields signed for nothing. It lasts like for 20 mil a year, like 40 million for 2 years.
Yeah.
15 million guarantee or 25 million guarantee. So anybody can sign that. Like Fields, I think he's better than people. I mean, he's not as good as people thought first, but he's better than what people think now, I think. So
yeah, the only red flag I have on Fields is why didn't they play him over Russell Wilson?
Yeah, but that's
in the second half.
They should have. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just because the coach he lacks veteran players more than anything else. It's like San Antonio Spurs in basketball with Popovich. They always go use veteran before they use a rookie or young players. I think that is the same with Pittsburgh's mentality. But Fields said he didn't lose when he was playing. So
I mean, all right, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to score. I don't know if they'll be able to stop
if they can keep Higgins.
Well, they got him on a franchise tag.
Yeah, but he said he doesn't want to play.
But I mean, again, he's getting paid an awful lot of money to sit out because he could sit out up to 8 games. I think it is. You're going to give away 8 game checks at a guaranteed on the franchise tag,
but
I don't see it. I think it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, but. I mean, I don't put Pittsburgh ahead of Cincinnati, even if they, do trade Henderson. I don't put them ahead of Baltimore.
The problem, the thing is that every year I said Pittsburgh will be last, and every year they finish first.
Thankfully for Cleveland, they won't be last in their division. But
they talk about Kirk Cousins to Cleveland. That's what they talked about earlier because he would. And then they drafted. They were thinking they draft a quarterback. They pick Cousins for a year so he can play behind, and then trying to make something out of it.
Well, you have Cleveland needs a quarterback. Giants at the time of this recording still needs a quarterback. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback.
Titans.
And Raiders need a quarterback. I mean, Titans, of course. Yeah, so you got 5 teams that are picking in the upper part of the draft that all need quarterbacks pending what shakes out. I think Daniel Jones in the right offense, I think could be like a Sam Darnold light. I don't think he'll be as good as what Sam Darnold was with Minnesota, but if he gets a decent, he was running for his life with the Giants. I mean, and that's his strength actually running, but it's different when it's a controlled run versus you're running.
I know.
They're about to get pancake. So I think Daniel Jones can make an impact. Russell Wilson's going to go somewhere. Aaron Rodgers is going to go somewhere. And then you got the 2 rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So how did that? And there's also a surprise team.
I know. But like I said, keep an eye on Arizona because they have 1 year left in his contract, and if they're not sold in Murray, moving forward, they may look at something now as well. So I think it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Green Bay's going to trade Jair.
Understand.
Yeah, so he's a top corner. He has health concerns, but he's still an all-pro corner. Do they trade him for a wideout? Do they trade him for Hendrickson, the Cincinnati, and that frees up T. Higgins? Like, there's so many interesting, fascinating things that could happen, and then again, nothing could happen.
So what happened? What is for you the team? With totally, we are at beginning phase, of course, of the signing and the trades. What is the team that for you show the most improvement or willingness to be improvement? And the opposite for teams who were in the playoff last year, which team are you wondering why they didn't actually do anything or move that are surprising?
I think, and we talked about this team a few weeks ago, and they're not done yet. I like what the Patriots are doing. Their defense is going to be beefy.
We knew that with Varno
save, but that Williams came on big time in a stacked Philly D line, and then they got that backer line or that corner. Yeah, and they're not done.
No.
Yeah, so I think the Patriots, they were already a good defense. They're going to be even better. So those couple of teams stand out. The team that surprises me, especially because they got their butts whooped in the Super Bowl, is Kansas City. Like Hollywood Brown, big deal. Xavier Worthy, now I know they dropped that, but whatever. But they got whooped. Like, why didn't they sign the guard that the Packers signed? That was the top guard. Green Bay's offensive line was already good and got stronger. And you saw what Philly's D-line did. What is Kansas City doing?
What can I say?
Yeah. I mean, how about you? Who's standing out?
For me, it's definitely Washington. I think that for me, I said that a few weeks ago. I think the team that I think will drop big time next year is Washington. I mean, it's hard to do better because better would mean Super Bowl.
Yeah. Sure.
But I think they would drop. But since I said that, oh my God, they go all into signing everything they can and more, and then grandmother, like they sign everybody. So I still think that it will be the sophomore or the second year slump, and also the fact that I think the wide receiver I really like. Debo, I'm not sold on him at all anymore. Last 2 years he dropped big time. McLaurin, he's I love him, but I think he's getting high up there in the age, and I think they need to change their running back because Eckler, you could see that the age is in his leg, and he fumbles a lot. So I think, I mean, they do have a junior, Robinson Jr. or whatever. So this one is a good one. But with the addition, like you said, protecting Daniels, that's very smart. They have a young quarterback who have the leg, but you cannot rely on this forever. So that's good that they did that. They had a good signing in defense as well. So I agree. I agree with the Patriots as well. I do believe Seattle, even though I don't think it's going to be like they're going to be contender now based on the losing Metcalf and everything. And then they put also, don't forget that they released Lockett as well.
Yeah.
So
that's why I didn't say Seattle, because the wide receiver, it depends.
I think the Rams. The Rams is my other team.
Oh, gosh, that's what I was, yeah.
Yeah, the Rams, definitely my other team. So definitely Washington Rams are my top two, and then Patriots close after that. The team that I'm like surprised is Houston, because I know they got 4 picks for Tunsil, but you need to replace someone that protects your quarterback, which is your number one asset. Definitely a young quarterback like this. The fact that that's 2 years in a row they made to the playoff, they won the first game and then they drop. They will probably lose Dix. So I was expecting them to be more active right now, but nothing. Again, a lot can happen moving forward and during the draft, but I was expecting Houston to be more active on the market, and so that's kind of surprising to me. But yeah, that's what I think.
Another team. Sometimes the free agent signings that happen are big, splashy, and they don't work out. One team, I'm trying to see if I can get some of the things that they did that I've actually been like, okay, these are kind of under the radar moves, are the Bears. The Bears got Adebayo, who is a really good pass rusher and a young guy, and then Grady Jarrett. at the middle. Now Grady Jarrett's older.
It's older, yeah,
but the thing that Philadelphia put a big stamp on, and then Washington to a certain degree because of Jaden Daniels, and I know you're going to be like rolling your eyes, but Green Bay with Jacobs, and even Minnesota with Jones, line play and strong running game. It's like coming back in vogue. So, I mean, Philadelphia, strong O-line, strong D-line, effective running game, Super Bowl champion. And I think you see these teams starting to be like, you look at Detroit before all those injuries hit, arguably one of the best O-lines in football, really strong D-line. And I think we're going to see more and more of that. I like Green Bay. I had no idea they were going to target a guard in free agency, but they signed the best one. They're going to let their center go, and then they're going to move their left guard, Elton Jenkins, who's an all-pro, to center. So now they're strong O-line. They have to do something in the D-line. That's where the Achilles heel is now for the Packers. But I think you're going to see that more and more. And I think that's why Cleveland was so adamant about not trading Myles Garrett, because they could have got a haul for him. But, the draft isn't a given.
Oh.
And if you have strong O-line and D-line play when the weather starts getting nasty in December and January, you got a decent shot. And that's why I like what the Patriots, we both like what the Patriots did. Like, I think you see teams who are really well run make smart decisions, and the way they structure these contracts are smart. They're not going to be in salary cap hell. Saints, they're in salary cap hell
for a long time.
Some of these other teams that just throw so much money, it's like, but I love the fact that you brought up the Rams, because I think if you count Stafford as a free agent, which in some ways he was, I mean, they got the best quarterback, and they got if not the best free agent wide receiver, one of the best.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I like what the Rams did too.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the beginning, but it's going to be interesting what's coming. So looking forward for what's to come the next couple of weeks.
Well, and here's the thing. So once the dust settles from all this free agent, you still got a good few weeks before the draft. So what trade's going to happen? What team missed out on somebody they targeted in free agent that now they're going to try to trade because they're not really sold on the draft? It's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
It's going to be good. Anything you want to share about, I know this occurred on Sunday, but the Boston Lakers game on the NBA?
No, that's a regular season. I don't pay too much attention. I mean, I watch it, but it was Saturday. It's LeBron is out for 2 weeks. I think I'm kind of happy with it. Even though it's the worst timing possible to get injured, because they have that stretch of 6 games in 8 days, or 8 games in 10 days, or something like that. Crazy. That's something that is not allowed by the commissioner, but the reason they have that is because the game against the Spurs, when they had the fire in LA, is back in the calendar, and that's what create this crazy schedule. So I think they will lose half of those games. If they win half of those games, I mean, I think there's absolutely no problem. The reason why I like it, I don't like that he's get injured, but I like that he get the rest. Yeah. I think that the best thing that can happen right now, because if LeBron continue to play like that with Luka until the playoffs, they will have played, definitely LeBron the whole year, like at a high level. I'm much rather having sitting down 2 weeks, give him the full 2 weeks, so he can heal properly and he will be recharged, because he doesn't need more than that to recharge, and then go from there. Boston played a fantastic game. I mean, again, Boston will be there, but Cleveland is still the team that impressed me. They played bad against Milwaukee and they won. They played bad against a couple of the team. I know it was a bad team, but against Charlotte and against Orlando, they played bad and they won both games. It's like they played the last 5 games, they played 3 games very bad in statistically, and they won easily. And so I'm really impressed by what Cleveland is doing, and so it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, let's
Yeah, I agree. So there you have it, folks. Hopefully, so much fun to talk about the NFL. We'll probably talk more next week about it as well. But in the interim, please be sure to subscribe, share, and follow 2 for the Win on your favorite platform. And remember to check out Hard Rock that. And thanks to them for sponsoring today's episode. So that'll wrap up this Fanatic Friday, and it has been a Fanatic week, and looking forward to next week, winners. Take care.
Bye, winners.